Oh, can I do this without pressing the wrong scene? Yeah, because I took the effort. What's up? All right, so we're going to be getting into the next series here very shortly. Thank you guys for watching and joining, etc., etc. But this one is going to be ByuL versus herO. And before we even get into it, what's really interesting is we've just come off the back end of seeing some visceral opinions on ZvP in the foreign scene, specifically out of some really good players over there. I'm actually not taking shots, but it's incredible because we had been doing so much Korean content, we didn't realize how incredibly different the game was over in Europe for this matchup.
Yep. We swapped from doing all European stuff to all Korean stuff, and it just, well, we don't get the comments, I guess, from the Koreans in the first place, but it also didn't seem like it was super, like, balanced, just from our, watching. Sure, you had a couple of Zergs all inning, but it seemed like a normal thing to do.
I do want to actually share some personal experience here. Now that we've been working with a lot of the Koreans very closely for the last year specifically and especially, and I want to make it clear, just so you guys are aware, Koreans balance wine probably just as hard, if not harder, than most foreigners. The difference is they're not as public about it.
Yeah.
So if there are problems with this matchup, we'll find out. But looks like the game's ready to go. So let's hop into ByuL versus herO. We got this one guy in chat, by the way, keeps making GSL jokes. I know, dude. We are blessed with the quality of players we get on BaseTradeTV nowadays. Again, both ByuL Alive, herO, and Ryong, like all four of the players in today's group were playing in GSL round of 16. So awesome that they're willing to still play in other events too.
Fancy.
But we're going to get into game number one. This is the other preliminary match. So reminder, if you're unfamiliar with how this bracket system works, there's a winner's match and a loser's match after this. The winner of this game goes on to fight against Alive. The loser falls to fight against Ryong. And unlike other tournaments, we actually conventionally do the loser's bracket, or the loser's match first. So that's what will be up next. But now that you're, I guess, hopefully well informed, we get into the game. And in the bottom right side, I'm probably better as his old clan tag CJ Entis to differentiate him from the other herO, but now recently joining Root Gaming, and I think he's even streaming his matches, or at least he was streaming earlier. It's Root's herO.
Yeah, I mean, a lot area, I guess. In the bottom left is the red Zerg. He is ByuL. Yeah, I guess herO was streaming even before I looked.
Yeah, he was streaming a couple hours ago, actually. I tuned in for a little bit. I will say there's definitely the touch of Cats, I feel, being the designer of Root and all that, saying, look, you can't set your stream up like Leonok and these other Koreans. You can't make it look like the ugliest thing ever. Let me help you a little bit. Because herO's stream does, admittedly, look a bit cleaner than most.
I like, Splice has, one graphical error on their design, which they should probably fix for StarCraft, but it's not too big of a deal. Otherwise, it looks pretty nice. Say that because I'm watching stats, of course, another monitor. I guess Solar also has the same overlay. Yeah. They have I think they didn't compensate for the time, which a lot of you just give them a screenshot of StarCraft. A lot of people forget to put it the 10-minute mark so that it's really wide.
There's the little extra spacing, yeah. But okay, so for this, what's going to be kind of interesting is ByuL has been the golden child of Zerg. Where even players like Dark and other good Zergs in Korea have fallen, ByuL has really been able to find victory and kick a lot of ass. Even we got folks like Scarlet. Scarlet's basically going to be the first person to head up the ByuL fan club. He is such a good player, and he's in such a good place right now. I don't want to give him the series because I've actually been liking watching herO play a lot more, but it's so good for me to know that regardless of whether herO wins or loses this, he fights against the Terran, and PvT seems to be his jam lately.
His jam. Yeah, he well, I guess I can't spoil it. It was only yesterday, but yeah, his PvT in general is pretty good. So I don't know if there's going to be much commentary on the actual PvZ state because it just is, it can be vastly different in region to region, just the styles as well. You'll hear a lot of people say from one region to another, they're not playing the abusive style, so it's not even worth talking about if it's really, overpowered or underpowered over there. And again, we just haven't seen too much of the resistance, I guess, that some of the Europeans are just talking about. I mean, when Nerchio got slammed by Showtime, it was okay, this looks a little bit difficult. Showtime's a really good player, but then yesterday we get to see another set of PvZs where it was actually the Zerg who took control of Swarmhost styles. So And basically, we're at this point where I definitely need more intel before I can say something.
What was interesting was the input of herO on that. If we had never talked to herO, we just saw DNS play versus Denver, I would be so on board the Super Storm host hype train right now. But after hearing some pretty logical thoughts and reasonings behind why it's probably not so good, but good against specifically DNS, I can see why we haven't seen a lot of it outside.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, Denver, he's not the world's best player right now, but he is, like, obviously good, and he's still perfecting a Swarm host style. But then there's also those times where herO might be absolutely correct, but Idra also said that Stephano style wasn't going to stay, relevant, and that it was something that only worked against bad Protoss, and that was not the case. So sometimes they're right, and like they're totally analytical, and they're like, absolutely. It only works against one set of people, but sometimes it's like, oh, maybe it is the future.
Well, hero's willing to play a little bit dirty. Second Stargate comes down. And this is paired up with Adepts already, so for me, the thought process, there is a bit of a longer stretch to this. But if he starts pumping out a lot of Phoenix, I'd be just as happy to see those in play as well. As herO, I know, has good control over his Phoenix.
Yeah. The Adepts are coming in with Resonating Glaives. There's really not a lot of them, so like this is actually surprisingly low amount of Adepts for bothering to get Resonating Glaives with it. If it's Resonating Glaives, at least like see like 7, right, or 8 if you can. But 4, 4 is like a squad. It's like a scouting squad. They're being kind of sneaky though, so like a ninja squad, I guess. ByuL still hasn't seen where they are and is like moving across the map trying to deny a third base that isn't quite there yet. There he goes. He realizes now.
Also, I've been called out for forgetting about Sue when I'm listing a lot of great Zergs. Excuse me, I wasn't aiming to list every single great Zerg. I am a big Sue fanboy as well. But the guy at hand here is ByuL. But I do feel like I do need to give that disclaimer because I do really like Sue.
Of course.
Finds a spot inside the mineral line. More Adepts going to join up with this. So the Lings probably don't want to trade this out. It's just not going to be worth it. Third base is briefly pushed back. We're actually on the way, but we don't actually know if hero's planning to take a third.
It's actually kind of questionable. He's using his money to build Phoenixes still.
Yeah, it's almost like a fake out. And if that's the case, okay, a pylon comes in. Never mind.
I doubt it would be a fake.
I would have loved it was a fake though, man. Like to watch herO do something super all in was always my favorite thing to do.
Yeah, anything that does Phoenixes and then actually all ins is something that we haven't really seen in years, but is very tricky. Because even if it's double Phoenix, which can be very, very aggressive and very difficult to deal with, you still assume that you're not going to be destroyed unless you just let Hydras get picked off one after another. Which ByuL does have to be careful of. He is getting a Hydraless Den, but of course by now he's realized there's going to be a lot of Phoenix, and he's got to wait until basically he has enough money to build enough Hydras all at once.
Ooh,
so that's going to be kind of difficult to do because he's building Lings and Banelings against these Adepts.
I really like that move, by the way. He is picking off the Banelings with the Phoenix. It costs him one of his Phoenix too, but it guarantees the Adepts have a lot longer shelf life, so to speak. The Lings can't quite clean this up. Resonating Glaives turns out to be pretty good, even despite the +1 weapons. But he's got to pick up some more of these Banelings and not let them get through. Just the crowd control alone makes it worthwhile.
He is going to go ahead and slap down that third base as well. So like
I almost wish he wouldn't, to be honest with you. He's getting a lot of damage done, but the drones are pulled to the side, so not a lot of workers lost so far, but a lot of Lings went down. Cost efficiency through the roof on hero's side so far.
Oh, yeah. Overlords have to be remade. Again, he still has this problem where, since he can't build enough Lings and Banelings to deal with the Adepts, he can't really build enough Hydras to deal with the Phoenixes either, and hero's still making Phoenixes, so it's not like he's going to hope that they're going to run out of energy.
Yeah, this is getting pretty messy. Okay, so the third base doesn't die, which I guess is a yay sort of moment, but it was still a lot of damage done. Drones were denied mining for some time. Quick look at the income graph shows crazy spikes. Actually, still for ByuL. I guess hero's lack of third really was hurting him behind all this.
That is surprising, but it should change. I mean, the Phoenixes finally go to town, as they let kind of the Adepts do that initially, and we're just dealing with the Banelings.
They go to Trouble Town?
Oh, you like that.
I really loved how stupid that was. They both loved it so much.
Yeah. There's the Hydras now in the way. As the Phoenixes are pulled back, that's another thing about dealing with Phoenixes is either you get enough Hydras at once or you try and pull them away so they aren't picking up your Hydras. And this is enough for ByuL to start the recovery process, but he did just lose quite a few drones with those Phoenixes, so that looks a bit more like we expect 18 drones lost. Cancels a bunch of Banelings as ByuL has to get out of there. I mean, herO is not on the best tech, right? He invested a lot into the Adepts and even like delayed his third to get a couple more Phoenixes. And then he's only relying on the Phoenixes in terms of tech.
Yeah, and these Hydras, I mean, the funny thing is the Spore Crawlers are the best thing ByuL really is going from here on the defense, as you can see, but he shades in, picks up the Hydras, Adepts clean up everything that's left on the ground, and even if it's just crowd control, he loses the Phoenixes to give the Adepts the breathing room to kill this fight. The split is so sick out of herO. Banelings are basically ineffective. GG.
Yeah, you guys try and do that style and see how it goes.
I've got a chant for you guys, all right? I balance wine all day, but I've never suffered a loss. What race am I? Of course, I'm Protoss.
That made it look super abusive.
It did, but it really, I want to stress, that came down so much to herO's control. He is, like, you can do Phoenix and Adepts, and you can lose with it. We've watched people lose with it, so it was really nice watching the precision to pick up the Banelings, the sacrifice of a couple of Phoenixes to make sure that those never took out the Adepts. And we always talk about it, right? It's never really the Carriers or the Phoenixes or the Void Rays that run away with these games. It's always like the Adepts underneath all of those.
Yeah. If I had to pinpoint a moment where ByuL kind of messed up, it was probably not making enough Banelings. He only had 4, and then they all got picked up for the initial attack. I think that could have been done a little bit better, but that was it's always a tough spot, you know. Like they have 2 counters to your units, and you just have a tough time. You know, if you pick up the Banelings, the Adepts pick off the Lings, and even if you got Roaches, you know, you still have to. Technically, those can also be picked up and crowd controlled.
Apparently, that sentence is giving you a tough time.
Not too much.
All right, well, we're going to get into the next game. It's on Cactus Valley. Just loading into the game screen right now. Again, the update on the map intros is we've been casting every day, so I haven't had time to go make them, but I'm looking forward to it. And should be good once we finally get them out and good to go.
This is your fault.
I know, I set the standard too high.
Yeah, well, you start talking about them again. Like, I swear people just kind of forgot about asking. Maybe you got one person every 4 or 5 casts, well, but now it's like a dozen people every cast.
But it's something I really do want to finish and accomplish, so I don't mind talking about it. And the more people hound me, the more pressured I feel to actually find and carve out that hour of a day to do a bit of work on it. I operate best under stress, although it does make me at my worst most of the time.
Okay, well, I can't wait until we have the map intros a week before the map.
I know, right? All right, ladies and gentlemen, we're at game number 2. You're watching the TING Open for Season 3. If you are in the United States, do us a favor. Check out our sponsors over on bttv.ting.com. You'll get $25 in credit and possibly even a great service if you end up using them for your phone provider. But in the top right, he's down a game at the moment. It's the red Zerg player, ByuL.
In the bottom left is the blue Protoss. He is herO.
Alright, so herO, yeah, a little bit abusive, a little bit gross. Kind of cool to see him play, but all of the win part of that game aside, I really did like what ByuL was doing, and I thought the moves were right. It's just really, it's hard to contest somebody like herO, especially with his control paired up with it. The double Spore Crawlers were really great. As we saw, he was, in fact, picking off Phoenix, and it's not like they went away uncontested for so long. But it is something that, with those Adepts especially, can spiral. And I think that third base attack was where that game really fell apart on him. Yeah,
it started the momentum in a hero's favor, even if the economy wasn't a severe loss, and then it turned into a huge loss. Like I said, I mean, a couple more Banelings. If you make 12 Banelings, you know, it's likely the Phoenixes won't be able to pick all of them up, where he again only had like 4 at a time, I think. Actually, I might be wrong. I wasn't paying too close attention. All I saw was just 4 Banelings walking forward, and I was like, well, that's not enough. That's not going to do anything. Or just, I suppose, he might have actually been tricked by the third base, because it was something that herO, he obviously intended to get, and he eventually got, but he would, like, have Horn and Minerals, look like he was going to put it down, and then build 2 more Phoenixes, or build 2 more Adepts. And he did slowly add on one Adept after another, only off the back of 3 gateways, to eventually be an overwhelming amount for the Lings. And I guess maybe ByuL just didn't expect that. Because this could be another same build, like another Stargate build from herO. In fact, Cactus Valley is the time that we've seen the mass Phoenixes more than any other map, I think.
Yeah. I'm loving it. The faster you say ByuL's name, the more I'm hearing Bill. And I just love the idea that you've nicknamed a player in Korea Bill. You're like, I can't learn to say that Korean name, so I'm going to just call you Bill.
Yeah.
It's easy to remember.
That's what I would do.
No, you wouldn't, but it's just that's why I think it's particularly. Anyways, I'm gonna call ByuL Bill from now on.
Bill, you get on that.
Good old Bill.
Yeah.
But anyways, whether it's Stargate or not, I do want to point out that herO does. I think we talk about this a little bit as a blanket statement for most, but I really, really mean it with herO. He's so dangerous because he's got like 100 builds in his pocket. The guy, he doesn't play very predictably, and he's got so many different ways he can go with the game. Things like fast overlord speed for scouting, like ByuL is doing this game, I think are an absolute necessity when playing against him. You have to know exactly what he's doing, because this is not a player you can just metagame and guess for. He is going for double Stargates, and maybe it's not the most original thing compared to the last game, but it's important that ByuL knows this.
Well, the good news is he would have gotten a scout, overlord speed or not, because there's something that kills overlord. As there often is not for the Protoss player nowadays. Like they don't even get a mothership core early enough to threaten overcharging an overlord, and they don't want to get a stalker usually in the early game either. Even a sentry is kind of too much to get with Sigil and overlord, so he gets it. What's important though is that he might be able to get a follow-up scout and see like if there is a transition to carriers, or it is just going to be the Mass Phoenix thing, which I'm gonna guess it's the Mass Phoenix thing again, as herO did win with that last game and just has really good control with it overall. I'm pretty sure he's won on this map against it too. ByuL gets his, Baneling Nest, he gets his +1. It's looking like the start of that last game. But will he have a better defense this time? herO is setting up his third base a lot quicker, I believe.
Yeah, last time it was... I really want to know whether it was a potential fake out or if it was something where, you know what, he just kept making Phoenix and it was a small mistake. This is much faster, and this feels a lot more on purpose.
Yeah. He's not even going to try and do an Adept attack. I mean, into the last game, he sent those 4 Adepts out, and they looked kind of lame, and then he added on repeatedly and kept on building Phoenixes. It did delay his Nexus quite a bit, but probably hoping that ByuL wouldn't... Either he wouldn't see it or expect it, because he's like, oh, you did this last time too, so I'm not going to try and do anything about it, or just wants to play a different game. I'm not sure. I don't think ByuL could do anything about it unless he severely overmade Lings, and then the chances of that failing, it might be just too big. The Adepts are in a good position, the Mothership Core comes out, those type of things. So, yeah, actually, no, he made a Mothership Core. And it's protecting the third, there you go. Fleet Beacon's on the way, so I guess this is one of those worries, so if they get this third base all set up nice and pretty, and you don't see too many Phoenixes being pumped out, are they going for carriers?
Well,
pulls the probes away from that Overlord, because he's like, what is in there? Well,
yeah.
Tricks on you, nothing.
Well, he did just confirm the Fleet Beacon, too. It is really weird that this was... I feel like this was intended to be an Overseer or something. I have no idea what that's about, but he confirmed the Fleet Beacon, though, and that's the important detail of this story. Yeah,
it's true. So ByuL, he should be able to get away with quite a bit of economy, like a lot of droning, a 4th base. There's just not as many Phoenixes there were.
Oh, well, this is a phenomenal surround and not something herO at all meant to let happen.
Yeah, it's still not game-breaking, demending. Although this now opens up the third base.
And the +1 melee on the Lings, they tear through those probes. Everything dead in an instant. A couple of them barely get out of this alive, but the Adepts will get cleaned up too. And for ByuL, I feel like this attack really was not meant to do this much.
This was a night, yeah. I don't think so. Well, the chances are there's Adepts, split up even against a wall, and it's just not going to do that much. But catching them all like that surround was really nice. And 11 probes is pretty good for that many Lings. And now ByuL is on 74 drones and on his way to Hydras in a 4th base.
Oh, yeah. Look at that income spike for the Zerg, especially with all those workers in play. But that's the problem. Carriers on deck. And we've seen it before where just carriers, like everyone who watches this game super casually, we've all got our fair share of balance winning, right? We play Protoss, we don't play at the pro levels, we just hate blanks. It's safe to say carriers are tilting a lot of folks in this matchup. But we have seen games where carriers have been totally mismanaged. It's been just carriers without proper ground support, without storms, without Adepts, and it actually ends up dying to Hydras quite a bit, quite badly. But that's where we look at the way herO's been playing this game and played in the last game, and he's already warped in a ton of sentries. I think he's already got Resonating Glaives. Yep, so a lot of Adepts on the ground underneath these carriers, and I think he'll be okay. But good old ByuL, setting up for a Baneling drop over here. Not quite timing it with +2 weapons or anything, so it'll be a bit tough to secure kills, but looks like herO's anticipating this, and he will catch this.
Yeah, nicely done. I mean, Zergs, they really should try this, so for the Protoss to expect it is a good thing.
Uh-oh.
Yeah, it's ByuL's, game here to try and break herO. herO.
Who saw that just now?
What?
Spike.
Yeah, it was you. I didn't see him.
Oh boy. Well, let's hope that's not going to be a persistent thing for the night. We do have the banelings on the front lines. Not many of them, though. Carriers, of course, don't even have graviton catapult.
Yeah, this is a very large force here, and herO's just not ready to go. I was going to say, this is a game that's up to ByuL to hit before it gets too far going.
Mothership goes down.
It happened. So
GG.
GG.
All right, well, so yeah, I see people in chat asking about the frame drops. We do have an abrupt amount of like 300. Don't know what happened there. We've had pretty smooth sailing for the most part, so knock on wood. We'll hope that nothing actually breaks. Before we go to game 3, I am just going to put up a small break so I can go look and make sure nothing else is running that shouldn't be, and make sure that hopefully this next game is absolutely smooth for you guys. So stick around, and we'll see you shortly. Listen, chat. Good job, Bill. Yeah, that's how you celebrate ByuL's win in that game. So ByuL actually went to go BRB since we said we were going to take a moment to see what was going on, and we're just waiting on him to come back. I've checked thoroughly. There's nothing running that shouldn't be running. I shouldn't have any issues. We're going to chalk this up to some weird just hiccup in the internet and hope that it doesn't go on further. But as I wrote in chat, in a worst case scenario, we can always have Zombie Grub take over for streaming. But yeah, hopefully it shouldn't be a problem going forward. There's been no drop frames since that one brief hiccup. But you know me, guys. I'm a bit of a perfectionist and a bit paranoid when I saw that happen.
ByuL's ready. Perfectly timed.
Nice. All right. herO's in go as well. So the third and final game for this is going to happen on Belshir Vestige. Fairly standard map. I think if this was something with Terran, we'd talk more about chokes. But I am interested to see if herO's going to stick with the Stargate play for this.
Yeah, he's done it twice. 2 different versions, though. I know he's got other builds up his sleeve.
I will say I did like the first version better. I think carriers are something you definitely go for if you can get away with it. But just proven now that you can't. We'll see if he does anything of the like. In the bottom right, here in game number 3, we have the blue Protoss player from Root Gaming. It's herO.
In the top left is the red Zerg. He is ByuL.
Also, just to remind folks who may be tuning in just now, we do have the winners and losers match already set up and sorted. So the winner of this will go on to fight against Alive. But the next match being streamed will be the losers match with the loser of this game versus herO.
Yes, sir. And, yeah.
I think it's actually going to be really tough, just either combination. I think ByuL and herO could both take on the Terran players fairly easily.
I'm a little worried about herO. I mean, his TVT can sometimes just be TVT, and it's whatever, but it also just looked like a bit off. I'm kind of hoping that, well, I mean, I don't know who I want to get out of the group, I guess. I think herO's become like one of my favorite Protosses, so I guess I'm cheering for him. But in terms of the second guy, I guess maybe I should be cheering for Alive, right? But if I wanted herO to get out, I would kind of hope that ByuL would lose here, I think. As herO did have good TVZ.
I would actually, so there is some element where I do have certain players I particularly would like to see make the top 4. And those are the guys who've been playing in our stuff all the time, always. Like, it's really cool seeing ByuL and herO now. But, you know, whether it was because of the restrictions of Kespa or complacency, they never really played in our events. Yet for the last 2.5, 3 years, we've had Alive and herO and many others consistently showing up. And those are the guys I would love to not just reward with, like, a cool USA vacation, but also get to meet in person, hang out with, and enjoy the finals with.
If you're going to go by that, then I definitely would give that to Alive. herO sometimes would just bounce. It's okay, buddy. It's alright. Go do your thing. He would only sometimes show up. Alive is literally just showing up all the time, always.
Yeah, I don't know how he has enough energy in the day to do as much as he does.
I'm not sure either. His sleep syndrome must be so weird. But anyways, I think if you're cheering for herO, definitely hope that ByuL loses because, again, like I don't want to spoil anything. But yeah, let's say his TVZ is looking better than his TVP lately. So Stargate is on the way, but only one. And it is going to be scouted very easily by a single lane. This is what I hate about playing Protoss, to be honest. I hate the lack of early game minutes.
It's like, hello? Hello? Why is there nobody killing me? What's going on right now?
It's like a dog told to go somewhere and it just waits there forever. It just doesn't know what else to do. Exactly what a Ling is.
Well, +1 weapons may have just been scouted out of herO as well. Well, maybe he wanted to do something more with the Stargate. He's got to be aware, because ByuL's done this in that last game too. A lot of Lings early on with +1 can kill units very easily if they get surrounded. And we saw that, like, surprisingly good attack on Cactus Valley could get easily replicated here on Belshire.
Another Overlord drop, which they made 2 last game, one around this time, and then that one was the one that was used as a scout. It was really weird, so I don't know if it was a mistake. Or this one shouldn't be. This one should really just be for the Lings that are coming over.
Yeah.
Seeing this many Lings has got to be suspicious for a Protoss nowadays. You're like, oh, that's suspicious. That's as many as we can fit in an Overlord.
That's
and just gonna scout it.
Exactly as many as you could fit in. Stroking his beard, right? Like, Pylon doesn't quite get picked off, and it would be nice to actually kill this because it would delay any Stargate production. Wouldn't stop the warp gate, of course, but this Overlord is just gonna rest in pepperonis. ByuL has a bad habit of making these, not using them.
Yeah, right. You lost a couple of Lings too, so it wouldn't even be that many going into it. I really just wanted to get in with the Lings, I guess, and you know he did. Didn't get into the main base, so that's still unscouted technically. But with this, oh my god, and the full scout in the main base. So as the Overlord saw what he was building, coincidentally, herO was placing his buildings over there, but now he's gonna get a real full scout and there's nothing secretive going on.
It's a little bit surprising, gonna be honest, having Lings so casually and easily scout his opponent, but I don't think herO's actually hurt by this too much. The thing is, with Phoenix and Resonating Glaives and Adepts, like we saw in Game 1, it wasn't really a surprise element. It came a lot down to control and positioning.
A couple of Overlords that still don't have speed. ByuL this game didn't bother getting it. I mean, they're gonna go down. It might be worth killing this one. Yeah, it is. There's no transfuse for it, so got him. Didn't even lose any health.
Yeah, it was a brief moment of supply block, but nothing too devastating.
ByuL is making sure that herO does not get a easy third off the back of this harassment, though. He's got too many Lings ready to go, setting off probes, surrounding whatever limited adepts you have. But herO, he's not eagerly going towards a third base too quickly. I mean, he might still get one, but he is getting 3 gateways first in a robo. So it's not like he's messing up.
This Overlord's hatching at the wrong position. Drone transfer is getting caught. Like, this is a little unfortunate because he is taking a lot of damage from this, and he's not really in a position to return any. Even if he gets a surround on these Adepts, they've already sent out their transfer, and they've got Resonating Glaives almost finished up.
Yeah, it wouldn't be worth it. That single Ling to the left, I think, saw the probe, so he knows the intentions at the very least. Again, I mean, herO's going to have production, and he could even chrono out a War Prism to attack if he really wanted to surprise ByuL. But there's also still the possibility of a Nexus. I mean, it adds on 2 more gateways. It's a total of 8 right now, which is even like I think you need to wait till your base is saturated to actually get that many. I'm not sure about Protoss production, but yeah, he's gonna try and do an attack with the depths, but he kind of gets caught awkwardly in the middle.
Yeah, a lot of surrounds happening. Unfortunately, had they all been clumped up, maybe that could have gone better. But this ends up killing a lot of herO's attack force. And for this, yeah, this is what's going to make the Phoenix overpowered. The Phoenix alone are not anything close to overpowered. It's the combination of the two that looks so gross.
Like, imagine if he kept the Adepts alive, but ByuL is kind of scared and still on 3 bases. Then he follows up with Archons as well as the Templar Archives. That is the, like, ultimate Ling-killing force, and even if he had Banelings, the Archons could soak him up. Instead, it looks kind of, like, weak, and it looks like herO's messed up, because he's not going for a third. Like, those additional 2 gateways really, I think, solidified it, and then the Templar Archives to add really that special oomph to the all-in. But he still has the depths are pretty easy to make, and ByuL never made any more Lings or Banelings. He's really late to it, because I don't think he expected him to do the attack. No,
certainly not. Of course, once you're in the middle line, you get your backs to a wall, you get the fronts to the hatchery, and big warp in. GG! Look at that top of the ramp! Damn. Disgusting! But alright, that's going to be awesome for herO, who will advance onto the winner's bracket to fight against Alive. But, as we stated, it's going to be the loser's match coming up first. I have to update the brackets, but you guys can watch this in real time, I suppose. As a bloop, bloop, bloop. herO over there, and then Ryung versus ByuL. So, we'll get into that one next. Before we disappear, though, we do have to chill out and sell out once again to talk about the sponsors of the event, because without Ting, this wouldn't be possible. Again, for those who might not know what it is, the too long didn't read version of this is it's a mobile phone service. Sadly, it is only available for the United States, but if you are, say, European or Canadian, or you're going to be visiting and touring around the States, a SIM card costs $5. Just claiming the credit through bttv.ting.com and setting up an account will give you $25, and that will absolutely cover your vacation stay. So even if you don't live there and you're just planning to like go for a week or 2 weeks, I used it for the very first time when we went to DreamHack Austin last year. We were there for 2 weeks, and it didn't cost me more than $20. It was awesome, and I used way too much data. I sat there on Twitter shitposting like every moment of the day. Most people don't do that. So it's worth checking out for certain. They're good people, they do good business, and the best part is, if you are somebody right now who has an excellent phone plan with unlimited data, etc., stick with it. They'll tell you to stick with it. They only want to help people save money on their current plans because they don't do plans. They do pay what you use type system. Anyways, we'll let them talk about it through some of these commercial breaks, but we'll be back in a little bit, and we'll see you guys for the losers match when we return.
Data is now cheaper on Ting. From now on, prices look like this. Need more? It's just $10 a gig. That's what new customers pay. That's what current customers pay. It's simple. We like simple. See for yourself at ting.com/rates.